imagine your rent suddenly increases by $700 per fortnight. You would be in shock. Your budget would be completely destroyed. Increase in the interest rates. It has increased almost 11 times in the past year. We faced a similar issue when we first moved to Melbourne. I clearly remember in 2019, at that time I was not working and my husband was the only working member of the family. Owners were not ready to give us a house because Hi guys, my name is Neha and welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. I am recording a video after 3 or 4 months. So very excited to talk about something that has been in the news, and all the friend circles that I have been talking about it. And it is the rental crisis that is currently going on in Australia. So in today's video, I will let you know what this means for you if you are planning to move to Australia. What are the reasons behind it? So without further ado, let's get started with today's video. A little bit about my background for anyone who is new to my channel. I have been living in Melbourne, Australia for the past 4 years, and we have been renting out. We have moved 3 houses. It's been terrible, to be honest. And this recent house came out of, I think, a tragic story. I've made a video on this. I will link the video up here. Make sure you check that out to know why we landed up in this particular house and had to leave our last house in about 11 months of staying there. But rental market is very hot currently in Australia, not only in Melbourne. There are so many reasons behind it. As a new immigrant, I understand the pain of not being able to find a house for your family. Staying in Airbnbs is very expensive, and you need that security when you move to a new country because you might not have a job and you want a place to call home. So let's dive into all the reasons and understand why is the current crisis so big, and it might be a problem for you as a new immigrant in Australia. The first reason is increasing demand and limited supply. The rental crisis in Australia stems from a combination of problems. Firstly, there has been a significant increase in the population in the recent years. One of the main reasons for that is because the borders opened up after COVID-19. There was a significant increase or influx in immigrant population. Now, as people kept coming in, no new properties or very less new properties were built. Hence, there was a pressure on the existing system. The supply of rental properties could not keep up with this demand, leading to limited availability and increased competition among renters. So owners and real estate agents usually prefer renters that have a rental history over new immigrants. We faced a similar issue when we first moved to Melbourne. I clearly remember in 2019, at that time I was not working and my husband was the only working member of the family. Owners were not ready to give us a house because we had no rental history, and because I was not working. Finally, we did find a cute little apartment. I have a home tour of that apartment. If you would want to watch, I will link it up here. And that helped us in creating our rental history and then helping us in getting our subsequent houses. But it was tough at the beginning, to say the least. Let's move to the second reason, which is high rental prices. So another major contributor to the rental crisis is the rental prices, the current rental prices. Cities like Canberra, Sydney, Darwin have particularly expensive rental markets. For example, Canberra tops the list with a median weekly rent of 690 Australian dollars for houses and 550 Australian dollars for units. Sydney follows closely with approximately $650 per week for houses and units. These soaring prices make it difficult for many people to afford suitable rental accommodation. So if you are new to Australia, you would discover that the way the rental market operates is the rent would be quoted in per week. So nobody will tell you that it's $2,000 per month. It's quoted on a weekly basis. So like $400 per week, $600 per week. So that is how it's quoted on real estate websites as well. 630 Australian dollars or 550 or however that amount is a lot of money. And when you're new to Australia, a new immigrant, these numbers might sound bizarre because it's just too much. And if you start converting it into your currency, you will certainly go mad. So please don't do it. That's my advice. But the increase in rental prices have started making rental houses almost unaffordable for a middle class family here in Australia. This one is big. Housing affordability issues. The overall housing affordability issues in Australia further worsens the rental crisis. With high property prices are at an all-time high. With high property prices, income not increasing at par with inflation, and stricter lending criteria for home loans, owning a home has become a distant dream for many ordinary Australians. As a result, more and more people are relying on rental market, intensifying competition and driving up the rental prices. So as new immigrants, you might be competing for a rental unit with people who have years of rental history. As an owner, of course, they would prefer someone who has an existing rental history over someone who has no records on paper here in Australia. Because buying a home has become such a big dream here in Australia, more and more people are now relying on rental apartments because they, of course, cannot afford to buy houses. And another factor that contributes in here is the increase in the interest rates. It has increased almost 11 times in the past year. So RBA is not helping the general population here in Australia as well. And last but not least, inadequate rental regulations. The rental crisis has worsened by insufficient rental regulations. Renters frequently encounter insecure lease agreements, a lack of rent control measures, and limited protection from unjustified rent hikes. These regulatory shortcomings create difficulties for tenants in maintaining stable and affordable housing. So you must have seen, or if you haven't, you can read it right now on the screen. There was this girl in Sydney who went to the tribunal because her rent was increased by $350 per week in Sydney. That was insane. That made me so insecure about the house that I live in. But imagine your rent suddenly increases by $700 per fortnight. You would be in shock. Your budget would be completely destroyed. So as newcomers in the country, you might not understand all the laws and terms and conditions on the rental agreement, and you might be a victim of unjustified rent hikes as well. These are all the things that have put a severe pressure on the existing rental crisis. So to sum it all up, the rental crisis in Australia is driven by increasing demand, limited supply, high rental prices, inadequate rental regulations, and housing affordability being out of reach for a common man. It's crucial for the government, landlord, and tenants to come together to address these challenges as soon as they can so that they can create a fair and affordable rental market for all. If this issue has not been addressed in the near future, it can become a very big problem for the country because with immigration increasing in the coming years, if immigrants can't find a house in Australia, I am sure they will prefer or they will choose other countries over Australia, which is not good for Australia's economy. So the purpose of this video was not to scare you if you are coming to Australia. There's always support from the community, so do not worry about that, but just to make you aware of the current situation. If you found this video helpful or informative, please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell notification icon so that you are notified every time I upload a video. I regularly upload such videos that will help you to make your life easier when you are in Australia. Very soon I will be making a video on why is owning a house becoming a distant dream for many Australians. If you would want to watch that video, of course, subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, give it a big fat thumbs up, share it with your friends, stay safe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.